Hello and welcome to our group project on just-in-time instruction. This is for the group that includes Erin, Pamela, and Maria. What is it? Just-in-time instruction is a teaching and learning strategy based on the interaction between web-based study assignments and an active learner classroom. The theoretical basis incorporates active learning approaches, provides structured opportunities for students to combine new and prior knowledge, and provides prompt feedback to all stakeholders, which includes teachers and students. Students complete web-based assignments which are due shortly before class. This gives teachers a chance to adjust their lesson plans, making classroom time into a problem-solving venue as opposed to a traditional lecture-based venue. Goals. The goals are to maximize the efficacy of the classroom session, to structure out-of-class time for maximum learning benefit, and to create and maintain a team spirit attitude. Benefits. This provides an increased amount of student-to-student interaction, student-to-faculty interaction, and students study outside of class. There are different types of exercises that students are required to complete at minimum of 2 hours ahead of class time. That gives teachers about 2 hours to look at feedback and data results in order to modify the lesson for that day. These four are warm-ups, puzzles, good fours, which are student essay responses, and weekly class news. These are all provided on a teacher-created online classroom. These are references. And next we will be covering the K-12 classroom, higher education, and corporate training and professional development. You will see how just-in-time instruction is used in all of those settings. Hello and welcome to the just-in-time instruction corporate training and professional development section. Just-in-time is basically having access to knowledge just when you need it. Some examples as an adult that you may come into contact with is walking down to a coworker's desk to ask for help, calling up to your mom to ask for a recipe, and not having to wait for a subject matter expert. In the real world, just-in-time is self-paced. A lot of companies have seen an increase of 57% of employees expect learning to be instantaneous as opposed to 3 years ago. Employees now want tips, info, and cheat sheets at their fingertips. It syncs more easily with busy schedules, especially in an education world where your role is constantly changing. And an example of this at anyone's fingertips, not just somebody in the education world, is massive online open courses known as MOOCs, where you can learn about a variety of subjects. They're self-paced on anything you want to know. In other words, embrace just-in-time learning to remain relevant to modern learner needs. Some issues in trainings where just-in-time can really make a difference are that most trainings are independent and not implemented into strategic business plans. Almost all training is prevention-based and not current problem-based, which is a big problem in today's world. Just-in-time needs to be added to provide real value in a rapidly changing world. And training is done from outside entities, which actually hurts competition, because if you're using the same training methodology as your competition, then you're going to be having the same goals and you need to have an edge. So having someone in-house is much more profitable. Some more issues are managers are not able to focus on individual growth and learning for key employees. The audience is not involved in their own learning, which just-in-time really puts a base on experiential learning. Most people don't voluntarily go to trainings, and many trainees teach facts but not how to think and learn and apply those facts. Some challenges of just-in-time learning. Content experts can give wrong advice, misinformation, or methodology. It can be costly to develop based on the type of corporation that it is being instilled in. It requires computer equipment, which can be costly as well, and requires training resources that are readily available on a continual basis. And differences in training from instructor to instructor. We all know that based on, even if the content is the same, does not necessarily mean that it will be taught the same way. Thus, content comprehension is changed. Opportunities. Collaboration from different disciplines and backgrounds, so people from different departments work together to work in problem-based solution scenarios. There is a maximized knowledge retention by immediate reinforcement of newly learned skills, and it is the best use of training dollars. To me, if you have the largest amount of retention possible, then that is the best use of your money. Some more opportunities: it enhances staff engagement, which in turn, if an employee knows that they will be required to use the skill, they will be more apt to learn the skill. It aligns staff growth and department need, thus boosting loyalty and perceived added value to the company. If an employee can see how growing in their department will benefit them and the company, then it will boost their perceived necessity to the company and they will work harder. Thus, it increases in department productivity. Best practices for just-in-time instruction in a corporate world. It is strategy-driven. There is a positive cost-to-benefit ratio. It is reinforced by essential tactics and policies, driven through various routes. It maximizes employability. It is really geared towards work-related training as opposed to fact-based. Employees learn by doing as opposed to being lectured to. They are able to transfer their knowledge and skills into their current roles. There's an easy link to training to other area needs. In other words, that goes back to when we were talking about different disciplines working together. They can see the link between departments, and there is a constant, continual, ongoing learning process at all times. These are my references, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Erin, for that. Hi, everyone. This is Pamela. I'm going to talk about designing just-in-time instruction for learners in higher education. How to apply just-in-time principles to meet the immediate needs of your students. So let's start with this question. Is education just the transfer of information, or is it more than that? I'll let you take a moment to think. Of course it's something more. It's not only the transfer of information, it's the assimilation of information. How students make sense of it. The goal is to elicit that aha moment. So why just-in-time instruction? Information can quickly become obsolete. Why go to class when you can just Google it or watch a YouTube video? With current technology, today's students can easily access information from other sources. Students get their information from a single source of knowledge. It passes from the instructor to the student, oftentimes without them being able to actually identify with the information and be able to learn about its applications in the real world. Just-in-time instruction promotes active learning. Consider the main features of the just-in-time exercise. Students are presented with materials that are open to interpretation. Students respond in their own words. The responses tell the instructor how students interpreted the assignment. Students must justify their position. They must examine prior knowledge, consult the course resources, and perhaps discuss the issues with classmates. To be actively involved, students must engage in such higher-order thinking tasks as analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Within this context, it is proposed that strategies promoting active learning be defined as instructional activities involving students in doing things and thinking about what they are doing. So what are the steps? Before class, the instructor looks at the responses and decides how to adjust the lesson flow. Then the instructor selects representative examples to show in class, not ignoring the comments. The instructor is now ready to adjust the classroom activities or lesson flow and improvise if necessary. The flow is pretty much predetermined, but the words used in class will arise from the student responses and, most importantly, will be influenced by the feedback from the live class. Typically, the class is shown a representative set of responses, and the authors of the responses are invited to comment and elaborate. The rest of the class is encouraged to challenge and suggest alternatives. Properly handled, this can be a teaching opportunity that goes beyond the course content. Students have an opportunity to practice critical thinking and communication skills. The course content is enriched because the wording actually comes from the live class, which makes the lesson fresh and interesting to the students. There are a variety of ways to involve the students in discussing the issues raised in the pre-class assignment. Mini lectures, group activities, clicker voting activities, demonstrations, or forum discussions if you're teaching an online course. So here's your checklist of recommendations to make the just-in-time instruction effective. Let students know that just-in-time will be used regularly, how it works, and make clear what a quality response looks like. Keep it short and manageable. Use just-in-time questions on exams and use responses to and distractors. Also let just-in-time instruction count toward the final grade for effort. Make responses easy to submit and manage. Provide personal feedback as much as possible. Just-in-time instruction for higher ed can enrich your students' learning environment and help them become an active participant in their own learning process. Because as an instructor, you're doing so much more than just transferring information. Now I'll let you listen to what Maria has to say about using just-in-time instruction in K through 12.
This presentation is about the use of just-in-time teaching in the K-12 setting. Just-in-time teaching is intended primarily for mature learners, older learners. It requires authentic effort outside the classroom, and therefore, to use it in the K-12 environment, we're going to have to modify it a bit. The issues here, and there are quite a few in implementing the K-12, involve this. In K-12, study outside the classroom is called homework, the bane of kids and parents everywhere. In the past 10 years, a plethora of studies have been done to show that homework is, quote, ruining our kids. As a result, the trend is that fewer and fewer teachers are assigning homework. Some schools even have a no homework policy. As I have seen in my own classroom, students now lack the discipline and structure needed for out-of-classroom work. This creates a problem when using just-in-time teaching. As just-in-time teaching requires that the learner be self-regulating to some degree, younger students, those in the K-6 schools, are not yet at a point in their cognitive development to respond to the formative assessment questions that would be part of JIT. Maybe by grades 5 and 6, students would be ready. The daily meeting schedule of K-12 schools would make just-in-time assignments difficult for teachers to use every day. There aren't enough hours in any day for a classroom teacher to read 30 to 100 responses and react to them effectively. The use of just-in-time would have to be limited to a reasonable schedule. So, study outside the classroom would have to be rebranded as something other than homework, and daily meeting schedules and teacher-student ratios would require abbreviated use of just-in-time in middle and high school setting. The challenges that we face are that just-in-time is more than a teaching tip or strategy. It's a pedagogical paradigm shift in how we formatively assess students in order to improve instruction. The technology involved initially adds a layer of complexity, and it requires more work on the part of the teacher on the front end of instruction. The challenges involved here are that the training of students to adapt to having more responsibility outside of the classroom, ensuring equal access to technology and internet outside of school for all students, parental support of a different kind of homework, and finally, currently there's very little research available that is branded K-12. But the opportunities for the use of just-in-time teaching are substantial. Authentic learning in middle and high schools could be greatly improved by incorporating just-in-time as an instructional model. Not only would the quality and depth of learning increase, but students would develop better study habits and higher order thinking skills. Just-in-time teaching can be a strategy used to create and mold self-regulated learners. Students who are prepared for class participate more in class. I know there are many studies confirming this, but I also know it from experience in the classroom. When they are more engaged, students are in a growth mindset and more receptive to learning. So to sum it, the use of JIT in the classroom offers these opportunities. It can aid in improving authentic learning, contribute to development of self-regulated learners, increase classroom participation through student preparedness, and absolutely would improve student study habits. For best practice, there's not much literature out there on how to use JIT in the K-12 environment because the methods and strategies are targeted to older learners. However, as students should be able to participate in classrooms or workplace environments that will use JIT, it's a good idea to begin the process of training them in the methods. It would not be a stretch, as it involves teaching for higher order thinking. That's what we should be doing. The primary training would be to incorporate web-based technologies in their formative assessments. The teacher would then overtly model the use of the feedback. Students would begin to see and realize that this feedback is authentic, it's valued, and it's useful. Not much, if not all of this work would be done in the classroom for K-5. In the middle grades, periodic out-of-classroom responses using the web-based feedback would begin. Finally, in the upper levels, honors and AP classes, in honors and AP classes, the collegiate model would be introduced as these students would be expected to have greater responsibilities for out-of-classroom work. So, in K-5, we'd begin teaching the use of web-based feedback in the class. In the middle grades, we'd introduce periodic out-of-class feedback assignments, and in the high school level, we'd develop skillful use of web-based feedback assignments. There is a place for just-in-time teaching in the K-12 setting, but it must be modified in order to optimize its effectiveness. Thanks for listening.